Not yet, not never. The silent weight of no good morning, everyone. I want to start today by asking you to think about a piece of paper. Not just any paper. Think about the specific piece of paper, or perhaps the specific email notification on your phone that you dread the most. Maybe it is a red-inked exam score that begins with a number you do not want to admit out loud. Maybe it is an email that begins with the polite, devastating phrase, "We regret to inform you." A rejection from a university, a turned-down internship, or a cut from a sports team. In moments like that, the world shrinks. The room gets incredibly quiet, even if it is packed with people. You feel a heavy, suffocating weight in your chest, and a single word starts flashing in your mind like a neon sign in the dark. Never. I am never going to get into that program. I am never going to master this subject. I am never going to be good enough. We live in a culture that loves to celebrate the destination, but completely hides the map it took to get there. We see the graduation photos, the acceptance letters, and the perfect career updates on social media. Because we only see the wins, we naturally assume that success is a straight, unblemished line. So when we hit our first major wall, we assume we are broken. We think the door is locked forever. But I am here today to challenge that neon sign in your head. I am here to tell you that a failure is not a locked door. It is a detour sign. We need to tear down the word never and replace it with two of the most powerful words in the human language. Not yet. The trap of the permanent dead end. When you fail a test or miss an opportunity in school, your brain plays a cruel trick on you. It takes a temporary event and turns it into a permanent identity. There is a massive difference between saying I failed that exam and saying I am a failure. The first statement is an event. It has a timestamp. It happened on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. and it ended on Tuesday at 11 a.m. It is a data point. The second statement, however, is a life sentence. When you adopt I am a failure as an identity, you are convincing yourself that your current state is your permanent destination. Why do we do this? Because it is easier to give up than to stay in the uncomfortable space of trying. If you decide you are permanently bad at math or permanently unsuited for leadership, you protect yourself from the pain of trying and failing again. The never mindset is a defense mechanism disguised as a fact. Think about how we learn to walk as toddlers. A child takes 2 steps, loses balance, and falls flat on the floor. Do the parents stand over the toddler, shake their heads, and say, "Well, look at that. Walking just isn't her thing. She is a crawler." Permanently? Of course not. We do not look at a falling child and declare a permanent dead end. We look at them and know without a shadow of a doubt that they simply haven't learned how to balance yet. Somewhere between toddlerhood and high school or university, we lose that grace. We start expecting ourselves to master complex adult tasks, heavy academic workloads, and shifting social dynamics on the very first try. And when we don't, we write ourselves off. Deconstructing the not yet mindset. So how do we shift from never to not yet? It begins by changing how we define a setback. Not yet is an acknowledgement of reality without the weight of judgment. It admits that your current skills, your current strategy, or your current timing did not match the requirement of the obstacle. That is all it means. It does not mean you lack the capacity. It means you lack the hours, the strategy, or the specific approach required right now. Let's look at the science of your own brain. There is a concept in psychology called neuroplasticity. For decades, scientists believed that the adult human brain was fixed, that you were born with a certain amount of intelligence and that was it. We now know that is completely false. Your brain is like muscle. When you struggle with a difficult concept, when you review a failed essay and force yourself to figure out where your logic went wrong, your brain is physically growing new neural pathways. The struggle is not a sign that you are incapable. The struggle is the literal feeling of your brain upgrading its software. If you get an A on every assignment without trying, your brain isn't growing. It is coasting. It is actually the moments of failure, the moments where you have to stop, reevaluate, and try a different angle that force the most profound intellectual and personal growth. Not yet means you are in construction. No one walks past an unfinished building and says, "What a terrible pile of bricks, it has no roof." They understand it is a work in progress. You too are a work in progress. The gift of the detour. When we experience a temporary delay, it often forces us to develop traits we never would have discovered on the easy path. The easy path breeds fragility. The detour breeds resilience. Think about the most compelling people you know. Think about the historical figures, the artists, the innovators, or even the teachers in your own school, whom you deeply respect. Are they compelling because everything went perfectly for them? No, they are compelling because they have scars. They are interesting because they survived the detour. When you experience a delay, it forces you to ask two critical questions. How much do I actually want this? A setback acts as a filter. It weeds out the things you were only doing for validation and highlights the goals you truly care about fighting for. What is this detour teaching me that the straight path couldn't? Sometimes, a failed attempt is the only thing that forces us to change a broken strategy. If you fail an exam using your old study habits, that failure is a direct piece of feedback telling you to change your method. It is telling you to join the study group, office hours, or test a new note-taking framework. Without the failure, you would have kept using an inefficient strategy all the way into much higher stakes environments. The delay is not wasted time. It is preparation time, turning strategy into action. So how do we leave this room today and actually apply this? When you walk out these doors and eventually face your next setback, because you will. And that is a normal part of life. I want you to use a 3-step framework to process it. Step 1. Permit the pause. When you fail, do not try to pretend it doesn't hurt. Do not immediately force a fake smile. Let yourself feel the disappointment for a moment. Acknowledge that it sucks, but put a time limit on it. Give yourself an hour or a day to feel bad, and then close that window. Step 2. Separate the performance from the person. Look at the red ink or the rejection letter and say out loud, "This tells me about my performance on a specific day. It tells me absolutely nothing about my potential as a human being." Step 3. Ask the strategy question. Shift from emotion to execution. Do not ask, "Why does this always happen to me?" Ask, "What is the single variable I can change before my next attempt? Do I need to change my time management? Do I need to ask for help? Do I need to sleep more?" Focus entirely on the controllable inputs. Write your own ending, my friends. Your journey through education and life is going to be long, winding, and entirely unpredictable. There will be seasons where you feel like you are winning every single day. And there will be seasons where it feels like every door you knock on is slammed in your face. The next time you find yourself sitting on the floor of your room, staring at a result that breaks your heart, I want you to remember this moment. I want you to picture that neon sign flashing never, and I want you to consciously reach out and turn off the switch. A failed attempt is a single chapter in your book. It is not the final page. It is a temporary pause. It is an unpolished draft. When people look back at your life story years from now, the most exciting part won't be how you coasted through the easy wins. The most inspiring chapter will be the one where things went completely wrong, where you lost your way, looked at the obstacle in front of you, took a deep breath, and whispered to yourself, "Not yet, thank you,"